Hi, this is Secret Squirrels. I think it's episode 26 or something like that. We're the volunteers behind CorsiNation.com in association with Dr. Jerome Corsi, author of over 30 books. I hope everybody's ready for a show. Whether it's going to be good or not, I don't know about that. We'll see. But, here we are. And we're going to have a little fun, hopefully. And that's our priority. And if a little truth happens incidentally along the way, then that's not our fault. So,
Purely by accident.
It's purely by accident, right? So, how is everybody?
I'm here. Does that count for anything?
Yeah.
Outstanding.
I'm here, and I'm pretty optimistic that this is going to work out.
I went and bought a whole bunch of popcorn today. I figured I was going to need it next week. Costco likes me. I already have enough bubble gum. I have watermelon and strawberry flavored for anybody that needs it. So,
again, I want to just get to that point next week where I'm here to kick some ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of bubble gum.
Well, I have some watermelon bubble gum. It's delish. It's Hubba Bubba.
Delish.
They still make that. Spider eggs in that?
No, not that I know of.
Oh, that was bubble yum. Bubble yum.
It was a bubble yum?
That was the rumor when you were a kid. What's going on, Brand?
Well, nothing too terribly interesting, but, we can go through it, see what happens. First thing, I guess, let me get back to the right tab here. This is the story that everybody's talking about, this Ford and Kavanaugh thingy. But the interesting news here on Breitbart is that all their various GoFundMe accounts or whatever, $500,000 that they raised for her legal whatever. So,
jeez,
is this acting isn't cheap?
Well, the question of it is, did they start these GoFundMe accounts as a way to hide their bribery? Well, if they were going to
exactly.
So,
and that needs to be investigated by the FBI.
Well, I think it's interesting because she's been paid that way. What's his name? Peter Strzok. He got paid that way. I don't think that's right. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. So So you got to wonder about these GoFundMe accounts that are being set up for these people.
It's money laundering. It's money laundering.
So here's the question. I mean, that's not like an anonymized thing, right? You can still trace where that money came from.
Yeah, they can.
Not really.
Yes, they can.
You can. What you can do is set up a fake PayPal account, and you could do it that way.
But it still had to come from somewhere. And now the IRS has already put out, with Peter Strzok in particular, but now if anyone donates over $15,000, they have to pay a gift tax on it.
Wow.
Anything over $15,000 is a gift tax, and that right there is like 50%. So I bet there's a lot of transactions at $14,999.
Right.
Yeah, right. I wonder how much money Jeff Flake has made in his GoFundMe account.
Yeah, exactly.
For him to be the only one to pull this, I mean.
Oh, I know, right? Says he's going to do it, and then he pulls it.
And then he goes and he hangs out with the Democrats while they're going, "Oh yeah, great job, Jeff," and the money's in the mail.
Exactly.
Did I miss something earlier? McConnell brought it to the floor, and all 51 of them voted yes for him.
But apparently Trump is insisting that now, with Jeff Flake's insistence that they're going to do an FBI investigation that's going to take a week.
Right. Okay. So the reason McConnell brought it to the floor was because they had offered to do, an FBI investigation, and Ford's attorneys came back and said, "Oh, we want it open-ended, kind of like the Russia probe, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, no." And within minutes, McConnell and them were like, "Nope, we're not playing that game." He said within minutes they went straight to the floor, and they all 51 of them voted on it, and so that part of it's good to go. And that was earlier. That's several hours ago.
So what you're saying is that they're going to vote by Tuesday, and this whole FBI investigation thing is moot?
Well, they already voted.
So it's not happening. That's what I thought originally.
Well, aren't they still got? They still have to go to the Senate floor, right? Isn't that what they said?
McConnell, they went. Yeah, McConnell and them. I mean, he's in charge of the Senate floor.
Well, I guess I don't understand exactly what all has to transpire before he is confirmed officially. I mean, we got this
committee that put it to a vote to take it to the full Senate.
That's kind of what my impression is, but I don't know very well what.
Okay, so the first round of it, the Senate voted, right? Okay. Then
so the committee voted.
The committee, yeah,
the committee voted with Dianne Feinstein sitting there lying through her teeth. I mean, Spartacus talked for 17 minutes plus part of somebody else's time. I just wanted to throw up by the time it was over with.
I wish that guy would just shut up.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
And anyway, so then, okay, so that was just that part of it, and Grassley wouldn't let Blumenthal, that traitor, Vietnam vet,
plastic surgery.
He wouldn't let him leave because, see, they all were up and leaving, right? And had no intentions of coming back. So basically, right after that, within an hour, I would say, estimate about an hour or so after that, Jeff Flake said, yeah, just let the FBI investigate it or whatever, and we can go ahead and vote on it or whatever. McConnell, they told him, okay, we'll do the FBI investigation. We're going to go ahead and vote on it. All 51 Republicans voted on it, yes. And I apparently sometime during that time frame is when Trump said, yeah, we'll have the FBI do a quick investigation. Somewhere in that whole mix of a few minutes is when Ford's attorney said, yeah, but we want an open-ended investigation. So that would go on for 47,000 years, and you know what I mean?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, no, and McConnell said,
it's moving forward. Yeah, that's what I've got a link in here from Fox News. Trump orders FBI investigation of Kavanaugh, as McConnell says nomination is moving forward.
Yep.
So there you go.
Okay, let me grab that one real quick. See if we can get the extra thingy here. Okay.
Yeah, but the Democrats offer sure.
Were any of you ladies attacked by Kavanaugh?
No.
I was.
I
remember
find
it
that Rich
31 years ago.
I
verbally attacked by Dianne Feinstein.
I was.
Well, she is a witch, isn't she? Talk about witch hunt.
Man, she is a piece of work.
Do you think if we put water on her, she'd melt?
No.
Melting.
Right?
Communist Chinese don't melt. But you know what Trump should put in there for the FBI to look at is a complete investigation, not only of everyone, including the Dianne Feinstein's office, her own personal accounts, all of their checking accounts, their savings accounts, every email, including her famous Gmail account, Ford's, anything that come off their IP addresses on any of them, have NSA pull all their records.
Yeah,
I think last night what I saw on a Q post is that they were showing pictures of Dianne Feinstein driving around, and they said this side of the road, these landmarks, she's in China. And then they said that they think that she's been working with the Chinese and sold us out a long time ago.
She did. I'm sure she did, along with the Clintons.
Yeah, and here's the deal. After Obama won, whenever he ran against Hillary, within a matter of hours, she had them on a plane. They went to her home, to Dianne Feinstein's home, and basically made up.
Wow.
And we know the Clintons sold out to the Chinese years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I love that Kavanaugh called them out as a revenge.
Oh, me too. Not even, he has a right to defend himself, and Blumenthal today going like this. He's the angriest person. He's dangerous. Are you kidding me? Man.
How is that guy still a senator when he's sitting there pretending to be a war hero when he never did anything?
He's a con artist.
It's disgusting.
He is a con artist, just like Schumer. Just like Schumer.
And to think that the legend of Marie Antoinette just saying, let them eat cake, caused a revolution and people died. But we're letting this stuff go down?
Yeah.
Well, I found an article. Go ahead, Brain.
Well, I was going to go up to this Rosenstein article next. Rosenstein to testify to Congress after the report wanted to wear a wire. That's kind of old news, really. But
so basically, even what George Webb was saying today was what they're doing is causing all this havoc so that you don't focus on that FISA coming out.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Don't focus on the FISA. Focus on this nonsense.
Yeah, for sure.
So it says Rosenstein could face questions over a New York Times report saying he suggested wearing a wire when talking with President Trump in the Oval Office and discussed invoking the 25th Amendment to remove him from office. Rosenstein has called the report inaccurate. Come on, the New York Times, inaccurate? But Trump called a meeting with him on Thursday, which was postponed so that it would not interfere with the Senate hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a woman accusing him of sexual assault. We'll call her the woman that shall not be named, right?
Sounds good.
All right, well.
Can we? No, I guess we can't use that word on YouTube. Sorry.
Well, we can use any word we want to, but then we might not come back.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to behave.
We got another Breitbart article. I'm going to go through the Breitbart ones first. Italian Catholic Church voices opposition to Salvini's immigration controls. Okay, a number of Catholic prelates have publicly criticized new efforts by Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini to curb illegal immigration, accusing the minister of adopting a fire and brimstone approach to migrants. Sounds pretty dramatic. Earlier this week, Mr. Salvini introduced legislation aimed at tightening requirements for asylum seekers and facilitating the deportation of undocumented immigrants. Sounds like a wise thing, right? The new system effectively incarnates the three-point immigration plan promised by Salvini last June, which included increasing the number of repatriation centers so that the irregular immigrants will not wander the streets causing confusion, reducing the number of new arrivals, and streamlining deportations. Yeah, the criticisms of Salvini's program from the Catholic hierarchy were not long in coming. Well, what do we know about the Catholic Church these days?
Right? Oh boy.
I wonder how Italians are feeling about Rome as a distinct entity now. I mean, are they still supporting that? I don't know. We got another, let's see, we got Nikki Haley picks up megaphone, joins Venezuela protesting socialism at the United Nations. Nothing wrong with socialism. You can certainly eat your zoo animals. There's nothing wrong with that. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley joined Venezuelans demonstrating against Nicolas Maduro's socialist dictatorship on Thursday in New York. In a highly unusual move for a sitting diplomat, Haley joined protesters outside the United Nations as Maduro attended the body's General Assembly annual debate in New York. So, it's drama. More drama. Protesters held up banners that read SOS Venezuela while chanting, "What do we want? Freedom," alongside other groups demonstrating against China's religious crackdown and the state of Israel under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So Maduro's socialist regime is currently presiding over the worst economic and political crisis in the country's history, leading thousands of people a day to flee the country seeking food and medicine. This week, several countries also demanded an investigation on Venezuela by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity. Lovely. Lovely.
I feel bad for the children that are having to experience socialism firsthand. Those kids didn't have a choice.
Yep. And then we got another Breitbart article here. I was going to go through these Breitbarts first. LSU basketball player Wade Sims killed in street shooting.
Crazy.
I don't
Really?
know. I don't know if this is any way cabal related or not. Baton Rouge police reported Friday that 20-year-old Wade Sims was shot and killed on the streets across from Southern University. Sims was taken to a local hospital but died of his wounds.
Dang.
Did he have any kind of information against the cabal?
I don't know. That would be interesting.
I mean, I don't really like it that's where my head goes right away, is thinking that it's automatically related to that. But it seems like almost all organized crime in the world is the same.
To that.
It's all the same big bad thing, It's like the only thing organized in this world is crime. And if it's yeah, so.
And that's sad. That's a really sad comment on society today.
Well, it's got to do with the nature of the criminals, that they will not allow you to have any sort of real influence in the world unless you are in their organization. So, and that includes the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry includes professional sports. So, does this guy? I don't know. Is this just some kind of gang shooting or something? I mean, what happened? I don't know.
Yeah, they don't have much information there, do they?
Yeah, just a lot of pretty lights in the cop cars.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting in itself that they don't say that much.
Yes, it's like, okay, somebody dies.
And that's it.
And that's it, yeah. And it's like they talk about...
There's no information, no nothing.
It's just a bunch of pictures of him while he, the fact that he's a sports star.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but what's that got to do with his death? Who killed him? Why did they kill him? All that stuff.
Right.
It just doesn't say anything.
And there's nothing there. It's empty.
So a video of a group of young men taunting each other shows LSU junior and basketball player just before he was shot. So maybe
that can't be enough to...
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be something that is just random violence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gun clinging Palin is saying he wouldn't play ball with the cabal.
Yeah. It's I mean, that's...
I think it might have been Hillary.
On Arkansas side.
You never know. So let's go through some Zero Hedge stuff. America's costliest stealth fighter crashes in South Carolina. Mere day after the Department of Defense...
Okay?
Oh, I don't know. A mere day after the Department of Defense touted its first ever combat engagement in Afghanistan, the multi-billion-dollar in-development and cutting-edge Marine F-35B stealth fighter has now experienced another first. One has crashed near a Marine base in Beaufort, North Carolina. And
I wonder if it's got that Chinese-made module on it, the ones that the Clintons sold.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of whenever they were in office. Remember, they sold out that technology then, and things have been made from there since then. And many of those helicopters that just literally fell out of the sky this last year had those little modules on there.
Really?
Yeah, it does say the pilot safely ejected, so
oh, that's good.
The pilot's safe at least. But who knows?
A good thing.
I mean, was he just practicing something, or was he on some kind of mission? I don't know.
Right.
It's still such an early version of the plane. I was just talking to some people that work on that thing, and they said that it is so loud and it is so dangerous. And I thought, isn't it an upgrade from the Harrier? Isn't it an upgrade from the Harrier? And they're not convinced.
Really?
This one's got vertical takeoff capacity.
Really?
Yeah. They've already got a plane that looks very similar to it. That's a drone that can land on an aircraft carrier.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. I think this is the last generation of manned aircraft.
Yeah, why have manned aircraft when you got all these kids that are good at video games that can just sit, in their living rooms?
Yeah.
Out of Arizona, too. Yeah.
I wonder if that's how they're recruiting now. They've got Call of Duty and stuff like that. Is your score in Call of Duty is what gets you into the military.
Well, on Microsoft,
and stuff, and some of those other ones, Microsoft stuff, Flight Simulator and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have a way of tracking that NSA.
Another Zero Hedge article: the GOP leaders threaten Rosenstein with subpoena if he refuses to testify about McCain memos. So this is a thing that we've already looked at, the story we've already looked at with Rosenstein. We actually covered this today in Dr. Corsi's show. But, I mean, I don't know if there's anything left to say about it.
I think he's a witch.
He's a witch? Don't they call them warlocks if they're male? What is that noise?
That was a crowd of people that were looking to get the witch.
Oh. Are you doing sound effects? Is that your shtick?
No.
I'm not doing it. Don't look at me. I'm innocent.
Spartacus! I'm Spartacus.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Everybody's ganging up on me as if I don't have enough problems. CBS could receive subpoena over Moonday's sexual misconduct allegations. Culture concerns. The long arm of the Me Too movement is knocking on CBS's door. Well, imagine
Maybe
that.
we got to get the Me Too movement with the walk away movement and have them just go at it. Pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's got to be a way to spin this in our favor. It's got to be creative about it.
Okay, House Intel Committee votes to release 53 Trump-Russia transcripts. And this is like the Trump-Russia investigation, and they think that this is supposed to be stuff that's revealing something about Trump. But no, look, transcripts will include testimony from several current and former key members of Trump's orbit, including Steve Bannon, Jared Kushner, Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump Jr., Roger Stone, and Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates. Also included will be interviews from former Obama administration officials, such as former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, as well as former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates. Yeah, I think that's part of the documents that are being declassified. That's isn't that correct? You guys know?
No, I don't.
I don't know.
I do know that if they haven't gotten something on him by now, they're not going to. I mean, they were investigating the guy a year before he even became president. The Republicans and the Democrats didn't want this guy in the House.
They've been videotaping and spying on him since way before that, according to Montgomery records, where the NSA had 6 billion records, and with the list of names. I mean, it's incredible. It went in last year, actually. Dr. Corsi talked about it.
So the next Zero Hedge article, U.S. evacuating consulate in Iraq, citing threats from Iran. Sounds...
Well, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Are they going to go take our diplomats again?
Well, it says on Friday, the State Department announced it is evacuating all non-essential personnel from the U.S. consulate in Basra, Iraq. The drastic move comes after a month of heavy anti-Iran and anti-Iraqi government protests that have gripped the southern city, which has led to sectarian rioting and the burning of Shia militia buildings, as well as the torching of Iranian consulate earlier this month. During the first week of September, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad's Green Zone also came under attack by mortar fire, which U.S. officials and military analysts blamed on Iran-backed militias. So things are heating up in Iraq, apparently.
Well, that's the way it always is. If you ever talk about trying to leave, man, that's all Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all the big guys. I mean, it's all about war. That's what it's about. They always want a war going on because that's where they make their zillion, billion, trillions of dollars if there's war.
Well, I think in this case, there's probably more to it than just making money. I think they are actually fighting for their lives at this point. I mean, this is the deep state. You know, they're on the way out, and they're doing whatever damage they can cause.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The deep state is just, they've been behind so much of this for so many years. It's ridiculous.
How much longer do you think this is going to take, Brain?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
back under control.
I think at least by November 11th, they had that military parade that was scheduled on November 11th. Yeah. And I would assume that that's the end date for being back. You know, that's when the large majority of all of our problems are going to be done by that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they canned that parade a while back.
Well, yeah, the Democrats think they've canned it. I don't know that it's actually canned. You know, there's a difference between what they're saying and, you know, who's saying that it's canceled, you know.
Right.
And you know, and what changes, you know, maybe that will come back on the table once.
Well, it may be something different than just a military parade.
Yeah.
Well, right. We have to get through the, what do you call it, the martial law first. Once the martial law is out, and that's probably going to be marking the end of the martial law, actually, November 11th. By that time, by November 11th, I would think.
3rd?
What?
You think October 3rd is when they're going to go and start rounding people up? All the arrests?
Well, I think that's probably when the martial law is going to go into effect in terms of like taking out Antifa cells and stuff like that. You know,
what's your premise for that? To think that that's going to happen right now?
Well, the Kavanaugh hearing is coming. Kavanaugh. I mean, the main thing we covered already. You know, they had that initial vote today, And so what happens once Kavanaugh is confirmed, and that is now they can start bringing a lot of the deep state in under military arrests. And so I think that's where people are going to start being a bit outraged, you know.
I wonder if that's going to be a benefit or a negative aspect of the election coming up.
Well, the election can be put on hold.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think of it like this. Okay, why is the president going to be? Why does the president need to talk to us on October 3rd? I would think it has to be a pretty important thing, and you know, he's not going to do this all the time, but he needs to say something that will reach everyone and bypass the censorship of mainstream media. He needs to make sure the message gets out there.
Exactly.
So it's got to be very significant, and it can't be something that the mainstream media is going to spin. So that's
right.
So I'm thinking it's going to be something significant like that. So why would he do that? You know, I think martial law is the obvious thing. I mean, it could be tied to the declassification of the FISA documents, since that does.
Maybe he's just got a good dad joke.
Yeah.
You know, he may do okay, basically, if he were to first put out just something soft to get the American public just to kind of wake up and say, oh, okay. And then that way the media kind of is comfortable with the fact that, you know, he's not going crazy or whatever. And then cause something else big to happen, like all the FISA documents came out or something like that. Then maybe the first time, maybe more people will actually make sure that they don't block the number. You know what I mean?
Sorry to interrupt real quick. Fire Sessions is asking in the chat, what do we need to do to prepare for Trump's message on the 3rd? And then Colleen Allen said, respectfully, do you really think Kavanaugh will be confirmed?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all a CIA issue right now.
I think this is a horse and pony show.
Yeah,
I think they all know what's going on.
Yeah.
They all know the CIA, and this is all, exactly, just for show for the public.
What they call political theater. They've already decided that Kavanaugh is going to be in there, and you know, whatever's going on in our government, it's not what it appears to us to be.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
watch the other hand.
Yeah.
Don't watch the main show. Watch what's going on behind it.
Yeah, keep an eye out for FISA stuff to come out. Keep an eye out, you know, like with Dianne Feinstein. I still think that she's going to be charged.
Something's got to happen with that woman.
Yeah, her and Clinton and Obama, they're all involved with selling out to China. And like Trump said the other day, China was involved in messing with our elections, and he said, y'all let us know if we have proof of it. So something's up with that.
If Feinstein gets arrested, you're going to have to surgically remove the smile from my face.
Okay.
Well, and then Fire Sessions asked, what do we need to do to prepare for Trump's message on the 3rd?
Let's take a minute on that question. Let's go ahead and let's start a group conversation here with our chat members.
Okay.
So, you know, we want your insights as well. I mean, this is a conversation between us all. What do you think we need? I mean, first we have to know what is it that's going to happen. You got some of my rationale why I think it's going to be something serious. I mean, it's after the Kavanaugh thing. It's probably after Rosenstein, and that means probably after the FISA memo is declassified. So, I mean, the declassification of the documents has already been signed by the president, but it hasn't actually been delivered yet. And so they have the needed approval to deliver those documents to us whenever they decide the timing is correct. And so what do we have in the meantime? We have Kavanaugh, we have Rosenstein getting fired, which means that the Mueller probe gets disjointed and kicked out, which means and then we go to the declassify the documents, getting that released to the public. I mean, that's a lot of stuff just right there. And that might be enough to warrant having the president give us some kind of message to the people, you know. But I don't know. I mean, would it be to the extreme where we're expecting Soros-funded Antifa movements and rioting in the streets?
Right. Yeah, things that we've seen up in Portland.
But trying to put yourself in the president's position, what is it he's trying to accomplish, and what has to transpire in order to make that happen?
Right.
We want the public to know the basic idea, at least by midterms. So we have to get some information out there. So that's the declassification of the documents. That much is pretty solid, I think. I'm probably reaching too much if I say that it's going to instigate a martial law scenario. I think that's at least a possibility, but it's not as likely as is like dealing with the mainstream media lying. I mean, he's going to have to explain why this alert system is even necessary. It should be obvious.
Colleen Allen is asking, is the president's message / text going to be automatically sent?
We can look at that real quick, but it's the first 2 minutes of the broadcast basically is explaining what the broadcast is, and then President Trump has 30 minutes scheduled to deliver his own message. So the whole thing should be 32 minutes. But what's it called? I forget what it's called now. FEMA, right? FEMA?
Yeah, it's a FEMA emergency broadcasting system.
Get your water.
Okay, so IPAW's national test of the emergency system, October 3rd, beginning at 2:18, and I'm curious why they chose that precise time. I mean, why 2:18? It's a weird time, right?
It doesn't equal 17.
Yeah, so the first 2 minutes there is just probably explaining what the emergency broadcast system does, what it's for, and so that's going to be something that FEMA puts out. But then it's released, then he's got another, so the EAS portion follows at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The test will assess the operational readiness of the infrastructure, distribution of national messages, and determine whether improvements are needed. So part of this, the function of it, is to see if the deep state has any countermeasures in place that would block further communications in the future. So that's part of it. So maybe they're just making sure. So they'll probably say something controversial enough so that the deep state would have to try to stop it, just so that they can know how to compensate. Yeah. But then, like later down the road, is probably when the martial law will be implemented. It probably won't be. I wouldn't think it's going to be. It's like so if we think that this is going to be over by November 11th. Then working backwards from that date, probably you wouldn't want this to be more than a week or two of military or martial law, so because that would cause too much fatigue in the public consciousness. So it's probably, we're not there yet for the martial law, but we need to have this test, make sure that we can know what the deep state has in its back pocket in terms of things to deal with this. So it does have to be a controversial message, something that they would want to stop.
Exactly.
He's going to announce the results of the FISA.
Well, the FISA memo is probably, you're right. I mean, that's probably controversial enough because that implicates, it's
some serious people and countries.
Yeah,
other countries,
and like President Obama and Secretary of State Clinton, both these guys are caught up in this mess, along with the MI6 people and the GCIS and all that. So that might be enough of a controversial thing that the deep state would try to block it.
Right. Well, Colleen Allen is saying that she saw something on Facebook about setting up the phones to receive it. She wasn't able to save it. And she also read that you could opt out. I read the opposite, that you weren't able to opt out unless you had an older phone. Jay Gotch is asking another question. If this is a CIA game, why does Trump allow the CIA to do this? Couldn't he just end these programs?
which part is a CIA game? I mean, the CIA is basically
the deep state.
Well, right,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
and they have 22 different, basically 22 different programs. I believe that's what came out in WikiLeaks this last year. 22 different programs that they're running. That's the ones that showed up on WikiLeaks. I imagine they probably have more than that, actually.
right.
But maybe he's trying to bring some of the ones who are maybe traitors to the surface. You know?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of like...
Smart judge. You know what I mean? Who are these people really? Other than the fact that we know that, you know, Ford's family is connected to the CIA. And
right.
Many of the people that they are connected with are connected to the CIA. So maybe they're trying to bring some of the bad guys out.
Yeah, I saw somebody was trying to make a connection between this Ford lady and the Strzok family. So the Strzok's and the Fords are somehow related.
Yeah, I had a meme on that. I'll have to go find that. But Fire Sections is saying that, yes, he could just end them, and with tribunals, he might even get away with neutralizing them as enemies of the state.
Mm-hmm.
That would be sweet.
Right, and so no, on that way of looking at it, that's why Kavanaugh has to come first before we send out these declassified memos, these declassified documents.
We can't have the Supreme Court with a vacant seat in it whenever you have turmoil in the country. I can guarantee you that. So, he needs it. They need to get him in there lickety split.
Yeah, last time we had martial law in the United States was 155 years ago under Lincoln.
It's about time we get that back in game, right? We got to get that.
It was in September, 15th September, 1863. And what is it about September and martial law? I don't know.
Right.
No.
Right.
I know that Obama had.
Well, here's that other thing: is it like what
after he was elected?
What's the October surprise going to be this year?
Apple pie?
No.
Is it a pumpkin?
Who knows? I mean, it could be a million different things.
Well, they had this other thing I wanted to look at, another Zero Hedge article, CIA mind control at work. Doesn't that sound like something that the Squirrels would want to cover?
Oh, yes.
Questions we should be asking in MSM and Senate. Global Intel Hub, Zero Hedge exclusive, 9/24/2018, Atlanta, Georgia. The hearing about potential Supreme Court Judge Brett Kavanaugh is still going on, but the hearings have clearly missed out. And keep in mind, this is, I think it's yesterday, 9/27. Yeah, so this is yesterday's article. But the hearings have clearly missed 90% of key material facts that, as always, as we have explained in our books, Splitting Pennies and Splitting Bits, the world is not as it seems, and certainly not ever as seen on TV. The peculiar thing about this particular political circus is that the GOP is allowing this to happen, as if there's nothing they can do to allow the left to manipulate the masses before the election's coming up. All we need after a victimized woman by an old, respectable white dude ban is another school shooting, this time with a white rich kid holding the gun at a minority school. Having said that, if you do have children at public schools, it might be worth considering homeschooling or private school, at least until the swamp is drained.
Amen to that, right?
That is pathetic.
So it goes on, why wasn't this accuser vetted as one would be in a court case? This is, after all, the Judiciary Committee. We know the answer to that. This is a political theater of the worst kind. However, if this were a court case and the complaining witnesses were to undergo cross-examination and deposition, they should ask the following questions. What is Dr. Ford's relationship with the CIA and with her father? The importance of noting the CIA banking connections with Ralph G. Blasey Jr., this report explains, is due to the outbreak of what is known as the CIA bank war, and whose start of in 1982, a CIA seized from publication news report, declassified in part sanitized copy approved for release. CIA has got a number there. Described as, this is Wall Street, the center of the international banking system, a system on the edge of crisis so severe that the CIA is preparing drastic measures. Something must be done to avert the breakdown of the free world's monetary system. So that's that economic reset that everybody's talking about, all this financial folks. Who paid for her lawyer, lie detector test, and other items related to her testimony? was she offered a book deal. So all these ways that they can get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what is her role in Stanford's CIA internship program? I hadn't heard about that. Is she involved in that?
Oh, yeah, and the Soros Foundation. Yes, and Soros Foundation, directly or indirectly.
She's a psych professor.
Yeah, at Stanford.
Yeah, I don't buy that whole, I didn't pay for it. I think I paid for it. Who? I don't remember giving them.
You just know that she's all into those mind control experiments and stuff.
Jay Gotch is saying Ford is a made-up CIA name. He says after a while you can kind of pick them out. I did put that meme that you were looking for, Brain, in the broadcasting if you wanted to take a look at it.
Oh, I've seen it. What are the political associations of Dr. Ford specifically? Are there direct connections to the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton? Yeah, I'm definitely looking for some Clinton Foundation ties. Mm-hmm. That's something we'd have to expect. The staged, orchestrated, and artificial testimony is no doubt the creation of a deep state actors connected to Soros, Clinton, CIA, etc., or at all. If the GOP doesn't want to mention MKUltra in a public hearing, as this would take things in an entirely different direction. Yeah, what is she doing here? It was misreported psychiatry. Dr. Ford works as a practicing psychologist in Stanford's Department of Psychiatry. But the fact that Kavanaugh has actually worked for the federal government and the White House specifically on a number of occasions and has gone through a congressional confirmation many times, why now? Something is fishy here, just as is proven that several of the victims of Trump were actually paid actors. The mere accusation is enough to cast doubt on the whole topic.
Well, Jay Gotch is saying the Ford woman was on the East Coast for some time before she appeared in the Senate. Something smells. And then Fire Sessions says rumors that Ford has an extensive CIA family.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is what we're here for, having all sorts of cool gossips and stuff on unsubstantiated claims and random speculations. That's what the Squirrels are all about.
I think it's good to have random speculation because 9 times out of 10 we end up being right. That's what's scary.
Yeah, and the George Webb did a really good video on exactly what they're talking about today.
Yeah. So there's that. So,
Yeah, but it goes on to say, why is the GLP so defenseless as to allow such a show to occur? I have to agree with that.
Well, that's because they have control of the mainstream media. It's all a media circus. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But so
with Lindsey Graham, because me and he was just wound the last few weeks since John McCain passed away. And, I wonder if he is not getting ready maybe to replace McConnell in this next year or so.
I've always liked Lindsey Graham, but I don't know that I trust him.
Well, I never really trusted him until recently. I gave him a second look, and I'm just like, what's he up to? So I think that not only... at the funeral whenever General Kelly...
Well, he's not a white hat. We know that because he was McCain's buddy for so long, We know he's not a white hat, but, at least temporarily he is serving our purposes. So, he's a useful tool. He's a useful tool for us right now. I don't think we should look at him as a white hat or even somebody that's turned white or whatever. So I'm just keeping my eye on him because McConnell, he's just... I don't even know what to call him. Useless some days. But
Colleen Allen agreed with you on Lindsay, and Jay Gotch said Trump has a few things on Lindsay. He's just dancing.
Yes, he is. I agree.
Then Colleen Allen said he waffles. And she's right.
Exactly.
Well, if you saw how passionate he was yesterday, and then his appearance on Hannity, he seemed like he was completely over it. He seemed like he just was switching out roles. It was crazy.
Really? Almost schizophrenic?
If I was that angry yesterday, it would be affecting me for a day or two afterwards. I don't know that I could go on to Hannity and turn on a smile and be just flip about it. He seemed like a chameleon.
Well, Jay Gotch says he's serving our purposes, though. And then Russ Wickstrom says, Graham is too much of a loose cannon.
Yeah. Well, it's not like we should like pin all of our hopes on it, but we're going to be grateful for the fact that he's serving our interests in the short term, at least.
For right now, yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's this? What's this neat thing you've got up here?
Oh, I keep going through the stories, deciding what we need to talk about. This one may be interesting. The Netherlands saying it foiled a major terrorist attack. Arrests 7. Is the Netherlands waking up? Are the Netherlands? That'd be good news if we could get the Netherlands like red-pilled. Wouldn't that be cool? So this is out of Brussels. The authorities in the Netherlands said on Friday that they had foiled very advanced plans for a large multi-site terrorist attack, arresting 7 men and seizing guns and bomb-making materials. The arrests were part of a coordinated police operation on Thursday across several towns and cities. The Netherlands has not experienced a major attack in the wave of terrorist activity that has occurred in Western Europe since 2015. The suspects were looking for AK-47s, handguns, hand grenades, bomb belts, and the building materials for one or more car bombs. And for training in their use, according to a public statement from the prosecutor's office in The Hague. Investigators said that they think the men wanted to use bombs and AK-47s to attack the mass event while simultaneously detonating a car bomb elsewhere, and that the police were not certain of their exact targets. Suspects had made significant progress in their efforts to procure AK-47s and bomb belts. Really terribly dangerous stuff, the Dutch Justice Minister Ferdinand Grapperhaus said on national television. But they hadn't advanced so far that a threat to the population was imminent, or that it was almost too late, he added.
Did they identify who the men were? Are they
well, they arrested 7, they said.
Yeah, but did they identify who they are? Who they are? Are they the immigrants that flooded over?
The 7 men, it says here, 7 men who are between 21 and 34 were arrested in Arnhem, a provincial town near the eastern border with Germany, and in Weert, a small town on the border with Belgium. 5 handguns were seized during the arrest. It doesn't say if they were illegals or anything. The Dutch threat level remained at 4 out of 5. I'm not seeing anything too terribly descriptive here in terms of where they're coming from.
Okay, and the reason why is because they're not going. That right there is going to be your terrorists that are brought in, the same ones who were in Germany, the immigrants, and the same ones who have flooded France. And it's all right there on the border. That NATO is over there in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think, don't they have laws against saying bad things about their immigrants?
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's why I asked.
I was just talking with a 20-year-old German police trainee last week who was visiting, and I said, what do you think about how your culture is having to change? For instance, the pools now, you have to wear certain kind of clothing, and you can't do certain things based on the Muslim influx into your country. He says,
exactly.
Well, we want to meet them halfway, and we want to make them welcome.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, this is probably very telling right here. This paragraph, it says, Geert Wilders, a far-right populist politician and the leader of a major opposition party in the Netherlands, reacted on Friday in a tweet calling Mr. Rutte a coward and capitulating Islam lover who had allowed thousands of jihadis to enter the country. So there's your answer.
Geert Wilders is really amazing. He's really been fighting to keep the influx of Islam out of the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. And they've done just about, that poor guy, they've tried killing him several times. They've done just about everything to try and silence him. And he's so brave, and he stands up to it.
I wonder if he's got any help.
He's getting it slowly but surely. He's getting more and more support. He almost, I believe, made it as prime minister on one of the votes. I mean, it was really close. But they've still got they've got so many leftists in their government that it's almost impossible for him to overcome it. But I think because of his efforts is the reason why we don't hear of the Netherlands that much.
So here we got a story of Denmark.
In the news.
Denmark is like their neighbor, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
They got some kind of ferry crossings and the bridges closed. They were having some kind of manhunt. Doesn't really. So Joe Bonnischen, a former Danish security intelligence director, was surprised by the scope of the police operation. I have been for 41 years in Danish police, and I have never before experienced that such action has been taken. So it doesn't say who this guy is, but they shut down everything over for just like one guy.
Surprise!
Who is this?
I do believe
three people. Okay, sorry.
I do believe that Denmark, though, is one of the countries that is they either don't allow it or they just allow bare minimum of Islam immigrants in their country. Because I read that somewhere. I'll have to verify that. Well,
it says. I mean, this is on an island in Denmark, so they closed the bridges and ferry and train routes for 3 people.
Someone may have came ashore.
Yeah. Well, I would think to get that level of but for that level of security action to be taken, I mean, those should be some pretty important people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like those boats that were coming ashore down there in Spain too, full of just.
Well, I guess
immigrants were from. I can't even remember where they were even from. It was just boatloads of them just showing up, all fighting age men.
Yeah.
I got a cool story here for you. What do you think of this? I'm going to bring this one up. This is about some drugs. This is a DEA report. 3 people charged in Newark heroin trafficking conspiracy. Newark, New Jersey. That's where Doc lives, I think. Somewhere near there, anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Special agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration's New Jersey Division, Valerie A. Nickerson, and the U.S. Attorney for District of New Jersey, Craig Carpenito, announced 3 men were charged today in connection with their respective roles in a drug trafficking conspiracy. Ahmad Johnson, Corey Kenzatter, Big C, and Maurice McFadder. All of Newark were charged today in a 5-count indictment. All 3 defendants are charged with 1 count of conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute controlled substances, including heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl. Additionally, Johnson is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute heroin. 2 counts of distribution and possession with intent to distribute heroin, counts 3 and 4, and 1 count of possession of a weapon by convicted felon. The indictment follows the arrests of 7 members of Johnson's drug trafficking organization in September of 2017. So they've been watching this heroin network for a while, looks like, since 2016. So DEA on the job. Sounds good, right?
We can live with that.
Right quick, on this 218.
218?
Since POTUS put it out, that's the time they're going to send out this message, right, in October. I wonder if he's referencing maybe a something in the Bible. Just asking, throwing it out there.
Right.
I'll go look.
So we got looks like California conservative. ICE uncovers alleged conspiracy to exploit illegal workforce. That's all the way back in August, but ICE is doing their jobs. I like to see the stuff, information about ICE. Let me see what other stories I can find.
I'm so glad that their hands have been untied.
Right.
You guys want to hear what John 2:18 says?
Yes, please do. There's several, actually, but go ahead.
Okay. It says, "Dear children, this is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now, many, etc." It goes on.
And then Genesis 2:18. Not good for the men to be alone. I need to look through there and see. Maybe it's some kind of reference to something in the Bible. And I'm not sure if it's Old or New Testament.
Yeah, it says that. Like I said, the last sentence was, "This is how we know it is the last hour. Even now, many antichrists have come. This is how we know it is the last hour."
Well, maybe rounding up all of these traitors is the last hour for them. maybe that I just don't know. I'm just asking, throwing it out there.
Good call.
Well-oiled drug supply ring. This is East Anglian Daily Times. I don't know where East Anglia is. What a well-oiled drug supply ring jailed for a total of 30 years for large-scale heroin and cocaine conspiracy. So it looks like we're done with the human trafficking stuff. We're moving on to drugs. So probably guns will be next.
I'm thinking I might need to buy a gun now.
Well,
You don't own a gun?
Yeah.
Nope, I've just got 2 cannons, my right arm and my left arm.
Yeah, that didn't go real far.
Welcome to the gun show, man.
And you're in Cali. You're in Cali. You're in Cali?
Uh-huh.
Can y'all? Well, my brother-in-law, they live out there actually, and my 2 sister-in-laws, they live out there, and I know that like my brother-in-law, he has several guns, and then they'll go over to Nevada where my daughter and them are stationed at too. Someone out there owns a gun range that they know, and they'll go out there and practice. But
there's a gun range near me.
Is there? Are you?
Yeah, there's a gun range near me, and the thing is that a friend of mine just passed away, and he had me over to his house. This was up in Kern County, which is really rustic, and it's you still get people that are. I still get drovers pushing cattle behind the house through the pine forest. It's beautiful up there, and the guy next door is an old Korean vet, and he had me over to his house, and he goes, "Come and check this out." And I went over, and he had every gun that he has ever used. He had Luger. He had everything with Magnum. How do you do that? You retrofit your guns to be Magnums or something? It was amazing. He had an M1 rifle from his Korean conflict. Yeah.
What is racketeering? Does anybody know the definition of racketeering?
Stealing tennis rackets?
Oh, that must be it. Because that's dangerous to squirrels.
On the Magnums, there's some. They take some pretty big shells actually, but and they will like 357 Magnum. If you don't have a good hold on it, it'll take you down. It's huge.
Okay, racketeering. Oh, go ahead. Associated with organized crime, the act of offering of a dishonest service or a racket to solve a problem that wouldn't otherwise exist without the enterprise offering the service. So
that's what the Democrats do.
It's exactly it.
Well, it's also that right there even falls underneath all of these social medias in a way that they could actually be charged with racketeering, and that's what Freedom Watch is saying, because they're all working together to ensure that conservatives don't have a voice, and that would fall under racketeering also. So there's many forms that could fall under racketeering.
Okay, so let's see about something about Princess Diane here.
Oh wait, I got a comment in the super chat, and I don't know how you guys want to address it. I just found it interesting, but Jay Gotch said, "Do you think McCain went to a military tribunal?" I'm starting to think so.
For the record, we don't have a super chat because we don't have enough subscribers. That's why y'all need to share this.
Our chat. Sorry, okay. I'm tired.
No, I
just quality over quantity.
Okay.
Well, it is. Yeah.
So remind me again.
Responded.
Okay. Do you want the question again?
Yes.
Do you think John McCain went to a military tribunal? I'm beginning to think so. This is from Jay Gotch.
Yeah, I would think so too.
You know, my only concern about that is how do they keep it a secret? There's got to be somebody out there that's dying to tell this story.
All of them want this information to get out.
So, you know, we heard what we heard, and I guess that was a polite way of saying that he'd been executed, but I have no idea. I'm confused by the whole thing.
I still always say if someone could actually see in the coffin, check and see if there's been anyone has petitioned a wax figurine of him in the last year. We talked about that.
Well, Jay Gotch is saying John Kasich slipped up.
Right, but people slip up. I mean, people make mistakes. Who knows what he had on his mind?
What does that mean?
Why would Kasich be involved with it? Why would he know?
What did he say?
He slipped and he said something about McCain, and his execution, or I mean.
Oh my gosh! Oh, not that!
Wow.
He did.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my!
That's
holy
cool.
striped cow
Hi, Bandit.
juice.
By the way.
Hi,
Bandit.
everybody.
Nice to have you here.
Well, I'm sorry, my kids were.
Good night.
Snap!
Patriot 3 with the zinger.
Oh god, no kidding, right?
Did you do both shows again?
I did the show this afternoon. I did Corsi Nation, and then I would have been on here earlier, but I got my kids tonight, and we just kind of settled in from supper and everything else. So,
good.
Jay Gotch is saying, he said it's been 24 hours since McCain was put to death.
And that's what I was saying. There was something up with that. I'm telling you, it was just all too convenient. For one day the family's putting out that he's not going to more medical treatment. The next day he mysteriously is dead. Something happened. Something. There's a cover up somewhere, and I'm sure many people know about it.
Yeah.
Well, I show up and I scare Colleen Allen away. What the heck? I'm sorry.
You ran off too.
I'm sorry.
Does anybody know what kind of a gun Alvin York carried when he took out the Germans in World War One?
Was it a handgun?
Yeah, it was a handgun. I think it was like a 45, like a Colt 45. Because if I'm going to buy a gun, I'd like to get one of those so I can look at it and kind of historical. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably my favorite story of the day.
Okay, let's see. What is it?
Journalists who spread conspiracy theories will oversee Italy's state TV.
Probably do good for them then.
Yeah. So what conspiracies is he talking about? Obviously, conspiracy theories are talking about, because conspiracy is not something that needs to be spread because it's already existing. It's a theory about conspiracies. So anyway, out of Rome, Marcello Foa has spread the claim that Hillary Clinton attended a satanic dinner. Ooh.
She's a witch.
Well,
I think she's worse.
But
she's worse
for a long time.
She's worse than a witch. I'm suspecting that she's actually the
whore of Babylon.
Yeah, the whore of Babylon. I think that's who she is. I don't know exactly how their cosmology is or whatever, what their ranking system is, but I think she is the whore of Babylon.
Well, I that you say that, it's funny because I read the book by Dolly Kyle on Slick Willie, and she said that she just couldn't stand sitting next or she had to have her car cleaned after Hillary was in her car because she stunk so bad.
Who said this?
Dolly Kyle.
Actually, many people that have been around her said that.
What'd she stink like?
That's the question. No, they said that she just really stinks, and
patchouli and death.
I have to look it up.
Yeah, she might be a walking corpse.
Yeah, maybe
So I'm even more convinced now that Slick Willie didn't touch her, and that Chelsea is Webb Hubble's child.
I think that she was always Bill's handler. I honestly think that.
Oh, she's a lesbian. There's no two ways about it.
She was always Bill's handler, and I honestly think that Chelsea is Hubble's daughter because she looks just like him. Just like him.
Well, Jay Gotch is saying Alex Jones says she smells like sulfur, and Fire Sessions said she stinks really bad, like nasty, nasty body odor.
Oh, so like she just doesn't shower very often.
Well, I would say that, but I have known of one person. I haven't met that person, that other people referred to her that smelled like that, that had body issues like that.
Hey, while we're picking on women from the left, has everybody seen here Pink Floyd The Wall?
Yeah, not all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many years?
Feinstein looks like the cartoon version of his mother in the wall. Anybody? Because, I mean, it's there. Holy crap.
So anyway, go ahead, Brain. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
I sentence you to be exposed before your peers.
Tear down the wall. I'm sorry.
And Fire Sessions is saying some people even shower and it doesn't help the stench. Fresh out of this shower and it stinks like that. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that happening. And evidently Hillary's got that problem. So
Well, that's what happens when you eat feces.
well, I would think so.
You know, it probably messes your system up, and all that mainlining the adrenochrome is probably not helpful either.
Well, and the blood's not going to help. Drinking the blood, and heavens knows what else.
Well, baby parts from Planned Parenthood.
Right. So.
Of course, that's just conspiracies. They're just conspiracies.
Are they? There's, archaeologically speaking, over history, Guns Clinging Palin says, "Can I puke now?" Just over history, there's always, with stories and legends, there's always a little truth in there. So you have to wonder how much is the truth and how much is the fiction.
Yeah, but again, I must say that we are here primarily for fun, and if the truth gets in there, it's not our fault. Don't blame us if you've learned some truth.
Oh, this sounds like a really fun night tonight, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. We're rocking and rolling here.
Body order and body parts, yeah.
Yeah. Just mere speculation. Take no heed.
Gunsling and Palin put that video link on here. Statement that was made by Cosich. I want to watch that after a while.
And Jay Gotch said, well, a fly landed on Hillary's face during one of the debates.
Yeah.
And then it slipped her way into death.
I'm sorry.
Amityville horror.
Yeah.
It just keeled over.
Yeah, it did fly on her face. And then someone who did a video with that section of it, slow-mo. It was hilarious.
Okay, so what are we looking at here, Brain?
It's that the guy that's going to be in charge of Italian TV. I think it's very interesting. He's one of us.
The guy that's going to be in charge of what?
The guy in charge of Italy's TV.
Huh.
I don't know if they have a
Soviet spy Sergei V. Skripal. Let's see. He thinks he could be more cautious. Oh, okay. Between the Skripal poisoning, so yeah.
Well, have you heard what Lionel thinks about that?
No, what does he say?
He says it's ridiculous to think that the Russians would do that. He says it's MI6.
Well, I was looking that up earlier, and it's kind of interesting how many Russian defectors are killed in the UK. I'm just saying. They don't seem to be killed anywhere else, just in the UK.
Yeah, the UK has that Hillary tendency.
Yep. So I'm just saying.
We got a Hill article here that doesn't seem like it's. I think it's about the declassification of the documents. It says, "Mr. President, tear down the wall hiding those FISA abuses." Every president faces.
Tear down the wall.
Yeah. Ronald Reagan did it to the Berlin Wall. Bill Clinton to the Rose Garden handshake between PLO's Yasser Arafat and Israel's Yitzhak Rabin. And George W. Bush did it when he grabbed the bullhorn and mounted the smoking pile of rubble at Ground Zero. Donald Trump faces such a decision whether to declassify the documents showing that the FBI and Department of Justice really did start and then sustain the Russia collusion investigation 2 years ago. The president's instinct, as he told me in an Oval Office interview last week, is to side with transparency and release document he admits he has not been allowed to read. So this is some kind of how is it there can be documents that are a higher classification than what he's allowed to read? How does that come to pass?
They've been hiding them from him.
Right, but
yeah, there you go.
but so officially he can declassify a document. So maybe there's a document circulating that he wants to read, and so he doesn't have the clearance to read it, and all he has to do is declassify it. I mean, what's the point of that?
Yeah, right. Right.
Doesn't the president have top secret clearance?
Yeah, but they have classifications over top secret.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't he have the ultimate? Shouldn't he have the ultimate?
Well, see, that's a different
clearance?
question. Doesn't he or shouldn't he? Those are different questions.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because if it makes you wonder if Obama had those clearances and what the heck did he do with them?
And if he did, was it because he was president or some other reason?
Right.
He was a
And if the president, any acting president, doesn't have the ultimate clearance, then stuff can be going on around him that he doesn't know about.
Yeah, and who does? If it's not the president, who in the hell does have the clearance for that?
Thank you. My question, exactly.
Nice point, Fire Sessions.
Deep state.
So, yeah, there's that one. That's a... So, I'm going to flip over here to Spider. I'm going to see what that Spider's got. Do you think any into the top news stuff? 122 stories on Kavanaugh. I've heard enough of Kavanaugh.
Oh, I know. I feel so bad for that guy and his family.
It's kind of depressing.
Yeah, it is.
And everybody's just, I mean, all these news sources are just hammering that story. I mean, they really want to push that story. So what else, what's going on that they're hiding? What are they doing?
Right. What's going on that
what else is
they're
happening?
not telling us?
Got Elon Musk in the news.
What is going on with Elon Musk?
Well, there's some kind of...
You know, that's a good question.
Elon Musk, it sounds like a body spray my dad had when I was a kid.
I know, right?
Give it to Hillary.
Yeah.
So it says, Breitbart article here says, report Elon Musk rejected a Tesla SEC settlement at last minute. I don't know if that's any good or not. Does it tell us what's going on?
Well, I know Alex Jones was talking about how he was talking with, what's the chef's name that just died?
What?
Bourdain?
Bourdain.
Yes, we all.
Bourdain, yeah. And they were talking about coming out and revealing what they knew.
Yeah.
And since that, Elon Musk has been real controversial in the news.
Really?
Yeah, when Bourdain.
Yeah.
It was Bourdain.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So does Musk know something about that? So because all those Planned Parenthood meals that are prepared, so it has to be prepared by somebody. Was Bourdain the one that was preparing the meals? I'm not kidding. I'm serious. I mean, somebody has to cook that stuff for those people.
Right.
Well,
I'm shocked.
Conspiracy theory wise, Anthony Bourdain, the sister to the Swedish queen. Is there a queen in Sweden or Norway?
I do believe.
Denmark?
I think there is in Denmark. There's
Denmark. Okay.
But I do believe there's one also in Sweden.
I think it was the Queen of Denmark, her sister, Anthony Bourdain, and somebody else all died within like a 3-day period. Mm-hmm. And they all hanged themselves, hung them, whatever you want to say. Hanged themselves from the doorknob with a red scarf.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, really. Now, do I have proof of that? No, I don't.
Well, that's the kind of thing that you can find that kind of thing. I mean, that's going to be open source stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Who's the third? It was Anthony Bourdain, the Queen of Denmark's sister, and there was something about her, what she was trying to do.
There was some other old girl. Hold on, she was in. But I think she was actually in the States at the time. Same
Yes.
thing. Yep, she was hung. She did hang herself on the doorknob.
Yes, and who was she? What did she do?
I think she was an actress or something to that effect.
And that's the kind of thing, when you're looking for the symbolism there, and they do these killings based on the symbolism. So
exactly.
What is the symbolism of the hanged man? I mean, if anybody who knew the tarot system would probably
the red thing. Yeah, let me look that one. Yeah,
the red sash was used by the Cowboys at Tombstone.
Okay, that I didn't know, but at the time I read all this, it was saying that this was it was like a mob hit in the fact that it was meant to shut other people up.
Yes,
it was meant to. If
they were Clinton-united.
Yes, pretty much.
Well, according to Wikipedia, it says the Hanged Man is the 12th trump or major arcana card in most traditional tarot decks. It's used in game playing as well as in divination. It depicts Pictura Infamante, an image of a man hanging upside down by one ankle. This method of hanging was a common punishment at the time for traitors in Italy. However, the solemn expression on his face traditionally suggests that he is there by his own accord, and the card is meant to represent self-sacrifice, more so than it does corporal punishment or criminality.
Curious.
So there you go.
I mean, you'd probably have to dig further into how this symbolism works to really know, but I mean, surface level speculation would be that these people knew something and they were possibly... I mean, like then you had what was that guy, the kung fu guy,
Lee.
No, the recent one, the guy that played kung fu on the TV show Kung Fu, Carradine.
Oh yeah,
Michael Carradine.
David Carradine, yeah.
And then you have that comedian. What was the comedian's name?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. So all these people that are dying, why are they dying? I mean, just unheard of number of celebrities last year died. What was that about?
Anthony Bourdain, he had stuff on the Clintons though that he was going to come out with.
That's what I heard.
Because Alex said, actually, I think he's got the video that he did. In my understanding, I think Alex had a video interview with him like days before he died. Days before his death.
And then he and Elon Musk were friends, and they were both talking about coming out and exposing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it says June 8th, 2018, Anthony Bourdain, the gifted chef, storyteller, writer who took TV at caller's ability, hanged himself.
And he was very happy. Everyone said he had been just very happy. I mean, he's got teenage kids, I believe.
Chris Cornell, lead singer of Soundgarden, and lead singer from Chester Bennington.
Okay, Bennington is
Lincoln Park.
Bennington is Podesta's.
Is what?
Bennington is Podesta's son. There's actual audio out there whenever Chester Bennington was a child and his dad was screaming and hollering. It was very, very ugly. Not video, audio. Very, very ugly audio. And it sounds just like John Podesta. Just like him.
Really?
Well, I know that they were working on sex trafficking / pedophilia.
Yes.
They were trying to bring it to light.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yep.
Yeah, but the question is whether or not they were they a sacrifice or were they some kind of warning or what? I mean, just because we know that they died and probably the cabal killed them, but we don't know why that was the case. Was it a voluntary thing was this part of their religion too, and they were trying to, their own self-sacrifice being something to help the cause?
I'm sorry, I just found something out.
What?
Bourdain had been in a relationship with Italian actress and director Asia Argento,
Harvey
who was one of the
Weinstein,
first
and
women to accuse Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, I just saw that. And here you go. Here's another one. Bourdain's death comes days after designer Kate Spade was found dead at the age of 55 in a bedroom of her New York City apartment on Tuesday. A housekeeper found her hanging with a red scarf around her neck attached to a doorknob.
Yep.
Boom, baby. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yep.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Only on the Squirrels, people. Only on the Squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and they're saying that Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain committed suicide in the same manner.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Bourdain was actually quoted as saying, coming out against Hillary and saying, "Have you ever been roughed up by Clinton goons? It's not fun."
Wait, yeah, Bourdain really, just before he died, he had an interview where he talked about how Bill Clinton was really gropey and he did rape women.
Gropey, that's a nice word.
Yeah,
really
that's what
gropey.
he is.
Sounds like one of the seven dwarfs. Sounds like one of the seven dwarfs, Gropey.
Yeah, right.
Wait, no, that was Opie. Forget it. Wrong show.
Yeah, Fire Sessions is saying to shut them up and send a message. It's time we send them a message. Trump is on it.
I agree completely.
We
get what are you trying to say? We get MAGA scarves for them?
I say,
chiffon.
Well, I find it interesting that the tarot card that Brain was talking about, if you look at it, the tights on the character that's hanging by one leg, they're red. They're red tights.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, the colors mean stuff, but I don't know what.
Yeah,
There's
I don't know
different
either.
designs.
You should see me in red tights.
No, I shouldn't.
Lord,
no, we shouldn't.
And none of you have an idea.
Don't put those images in my little brain.
With that trapdoor button.
No, please. I don't need the visual.
Hey, those are called union suits.
Oh, yes, they are.
Not Santa suits.
I've got several.
Oh my gosh. Okay, folks, we're not having a Secret Squirrels Christmas Day. That's not happening.
We're spiraling.
We are, and I'm starting to get scared.
Somebody pull back on the yoke.
Oh, here's a Mother Jones article on Kentucky's last abortion clinic.
Thank God. The last one, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that gets me, too, is how they can be selling body parts, and still you get people that are backing up Planned Parenthood.
Well, they don't believe it.
And it's depopulate.
It's not a surprise, though, that they don't believe it, because it's so outlandish. So who would do this?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That goes to the 2/3 don't get it, and the 2/3 don't hear about it, and then the 1/3 isn't going to believe it no matter what. You could have home video of it, and
they'd say it was CG. It was done on CG.
Right. Somebody put that together. It's a stunt. Just like landing on the moon or flat earthers or, just all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, just in a general sense, I think we should talk to our audience or whatever audience we have that, once it comes time that, when all this news eventually hits the mainstream, if that ever happens, it seems like it's not going to happen, but eventually it has to come out. We've reached, point of no return, but so it's inevitable. There's enough people that know enough things that the deep state's up to that this all has to come out to everybody eventually. And but we have to start thinking about that. What are we going to do once it is common knowledge? Because it's going to happen.
Streets.
Well, emotionally too is what is the damage to the population as a whole?
Yeah.
That's my concern.
Some of this stuff is going to be so damaging that not everybody's going to be able to handle it.
That's
Right.
Exactly. And
psychologically, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And even QAnon had said that earlier in the year. Some people the information will be there, but some people will never be able to absorb it, understand it, or even live with what they actually comes out.
But I'm saying that we're going to have to, so right now we're basically all-purpose conspiratorial squirrels. We're going to probably have to specialize once more people understand what's happening. More people are going to start talking about conspiracies. The more people know about it, the more people are going to get in the game or whatever. And so there's going to be a natural movement towards specializing what particular types of conspiracies are we going to be looking at. Going to specialize in the weird sacrifice, the suicides, stuff like that. Or are we going to get into global economic controls? Or are you going to get in? Alien stuff. There's so many different aspects of it. Which aspect is it you want to start investigating deeply?
Thank you, Patriot 3.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
He posted conspiracy number 1. What is the source of the Hillary odor?
Question number 2. Who knows why the FBI would investigate the letter Q?
Fire Session says, squirrels always have lots of nuts. They will take care of business that needs taken care of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just lost my train of thought.
Hashtag hide your nuts.
Hide your nuts.
Oh my God.
My concern about that is that everybody's going to take so many hits within a short period. It's going to be so impactful, from finding out the FBI is corrupt, that the CIA is corrupt, that all these Democratic politicians are paying actors and people to protest. I've been saying that to family for a couple of years now, and they all look at me like, you are crazy. And when this all comes out, it's going to be so shocking to them that I can see people having a difficult time ever trusting their government again, and I just see it being conducive.
Well, it's that thing where you I don't know how many of you sat there and told your relatives, yeah, Trump's going to win, and how many of you got told, nope, it's never going to happen, never going to happen, and then the day after you call up, see, I told you so.
Go get bent.
I think that's what it's going to be.
Well, and even all of these pedophile stuff that have come out this last year. Okay, there are people who just in a million years never imagined some of these people have, what I mean?
Yeah, I went through that
this
today.
Is only the beginning. Yeah, I told them, I said, and this is family members that have come into the family the last few years, and I was like, this is only the beginning, so any of your heroes, you just might as well put
kiss
them
it goodbye.
Kiss it goodbye, because there's a possibility they'll end up letting you down by the time said and done.
Oh, I've met some of my heroes, and that wasn't good. But
Colleen,
really?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Colleen Allen is back, and we missed you. Okay.
Good clinging Palin. He says Trump will send the text calling on us all to militia up and get ready to fight for this country on his borders. Wouldn't that be something?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the funny part, or not the funny part, the ironic, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just that when it all happens, there's going to be pandemonium, and there's going to be denial, and there's going to be all kinds of these things.
Right.
There's going to be a small portion of us, a small percentage of us that are literally going to sit back in our recliners, relaxed, because we knew. We
told you so. We told you so.
But Brain can contest to this. I've been, for only the last year, every time a pedo ring gets busted, every time a sex trafficking thing gets busted, I share the link on Facebook. And I don't go nuts, and I don't make a whole paragraph about it. I just share it.
If you remember right, I had a hard time bringing you over to this side.
If you remember right, I've been on this side for quite a while.
I don't know.
Ever since we hit your head back in junior high.
No.
I think you failed to recall amnesia.
It was a poll.
A poll taken on
Poor
brain.
brain. Poor brain.
Wrong poll. I got the satisfaction because teaching propaganda, having a propaganda lesson and going over propaganda with everybody, showing the video where the little kids are saying they were all angry at their parents that the Obama administration put out. The polar bears are going to be swimming and we blame you and all that stuff. And I was showing this to students. And then I kept saying, Trump's going to win. And they're all like, you're out of your mind. And I said, nope, Trump is going to win. Based on everything that I've been studying with the propaganda, the tone of the country, he's going to win. And the day before, I was playing poker at a student's house with his family and himself. And they were Hispanic conservatives. And they said, no, I don't think so. All the polls are saying that it's a 95% chance that Hillary's going to win. And I said, I still have this gut feeling that there's all these people that can't come out because they don't want to deal with the ridiculousness of these emotionally crazed individuals. So they're just going to keep it to themselves until they vote. And it was the greatest satisfaction the next night when I got Facebook messages, Professor, you're right. You got it. You nailed it. And I was still shocked. Seeing Megyn Kelly's face was perfect. Seeing those people on ABC News crying, pretending to be objective news was perfect.
Oh, I know. It was so sweet.
Perfect, but scary, because at that point in time they quit hiding. Yeah, they came out of the closet, so to speak.
There's just no way. Oh, I can't make it. It was hilarious.
It's a sad day because you've got so many low information people that are listening for their news.
Fire Session said, and all the hearts will fail them for fear of what is revealed. We are prepared years in advance and will probably be the only ones that will be able to act on what needs to be done to fix it.
Like I've said before, I think we're the sheepdogs.
I don't think that I think that all of us here are definitely not pack mentality.
No, that's a reference to the military. Sheepdogs are the ones there to protect against the wolves.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see myself as someone even like that. I always have felt like I'm the one. I always felt like I'm all alone, and I keep plugging forward.
Realistic.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Before I met you guys, I was really, really feeling down and out. And my wife said that once I got involved with you guys, that she says, you've become happier and you don't seem like you're just so disturbed anymore. And I said, I was just, it's like a burden that you carry around with you. Thinking, am I insane? Am I the only one that's capable of seeing this crap? Why don't people bother to look up in the sky and say a contrail evaporates? These things are spreading out over my house.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, but I also feel like I've been the only one that's willing to stand up and fight for it. And everybody else, I look behind me and there's a whole crowd of people sitting there cowering and biting their nails.
Yep.
And it's nice because I feel like it's different. So I've always felt like I'm, sheepdog, I get that, but I've always felt like I've been a lone wolf.
Well, and that's part of the mind control tactic. That's part of that's how they actually, the mechanisms involved with it is they say, it's really simplistic sort of group psychology when you're saying, everybody believes XYZ, therefore, if they say it in that way, like everybody believes this certain thing, even though nobody does, well, then the next day everybody believes it because nobody wants to be all alone. And if you're committed to discovering the truth, then you're still going to internalize that message, but you're going to feel alone as a result of it. So that's why you get this movement, whatever you call it, the MAGA train or whatever. I mean, that's why it's so powerful, is because all these people who have pursued the truth over popularity will say, finally we have a community, or at least that's what it feels like.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what I like about us with Corsi Nation. finally we've got that community and we're starting to pull people out.
Well, it's a little bit of an illusion because, it's just because of that psychological mechanism in us that we perceive it as if we're really alone, but we're actually not.
Right.
So it's because you get inundated with the news media
pounding you with lies. Yeah.
Well, you guys
like those thousands.
While you guys were putting on a show earlier tonight, I was watching a neat special with my kids on the Jonestown Massacre.
Oh.
I remember it, and I remember there was a movie made out of it, but I have never seen such a good actual documentary about it. And it explained, I said to the kids before it even got into it, I said, you've heard the term lately, drink the Kool-Aid? This is where it came from.
Yep.
And they're looking at me like I was goofy. And during the show, they started talking. Towards the end, they started talking about sheep and drinking the Kool-Aid and totally giving yourself over to somebody and believing in something so much, even though when you know it's wrong, and you drink the Kool-Aid. And the kids were just looking at me like, wow, this is crazy stuff. And I'm like, yeah.
It's cult. Yeah, it's a CIA cult.
You guys want to hear a cool little bit of trivia? The guy that came up with the tagline "Kool-Aid, oh yeah," he his son was the lead guitarist for Jane's Addiction and Red Hot Chili Peppers for an album.
Really?
Yeah, Dave Navarro.
I know Dave Navarro. Well, I mean, I don't know him, but I know
his
who he
dad
is.
came up with Kool-Aid, oh yeah.
Not trying to take that away from you or whatever, but that's not like one of the all-time classic things of our lifetime here. Just Kool-Aid, oh yeah. I mean,
yeah, that wasn't very inspiring, was it?
Exactly.
He parlayed it into an entire career and an ad agency. He opened up on that.
Okay, well, good for him, but wow, that's pretty simple.
So did the guy with the Got Milk.
Same thing, right?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Ideas sell, make money.
All right. Well, by God, then.
I only wish
Never mind.
So yeah, Fire Sessions is saying he said back about. We were talking about being the lone wolf and looking back at everybody biting their nails. He said, while they're biting their nails, someone passed the ammo, LOL. And then he said, I'll probably be relegated to the cleanup crew. That's the dirty part of cleaning up the mess. I can run the backhoe.
Oh, that's dark, man.
Yeah, that is dark. But it's sad. It's sad, but you almost wonder if we're coming to that with how dark this is getting. And all the information that is coming out, you have to wonder, how bad is this going to get?
It's going to get bad.
You know,
just not.
How much can we handle?
I don't think it's going to get as bad as you guys think it's going to get.
I don't lose any sleep over it, but I'm just saying, whenever the child trafficking and it just comes front and center, and there's videos that show these high-profile people involved with it. Human trafficking, organ harvesting, and it starts coming out in all of the documents and stuff. There are people and how the Vatican and the churches are involved in it.
Right.
And this stuff starts coming out. There are people that will not be able to handle it. And our family is not one of them.
Well, Fire Sessions said, prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Absolutely.
And he's right.
Yes. And I'm sorry, Army Wife. I was thinking of a different. I thought like the left causing riots and fighting back from like the Kavanaugh and stuff like that. I still think that's going to be such a small percentage of the country. But no, you're right. When all the real stuff comes out and hits the fan,
that's what's going to cause the problems.
I wonder how many people are going to kill themselves. I mean, just
right.
That's why they're trying to get this stuff to come out slowly like this, and whenever it starts coming more and more to the public, okay, you already know that mainstream media is not going to cover a lot of it. You know that they're not.
Right.
Fox News will cover some of it, I'm sure, but will they cover all of it? Probably not. But will the information be out there? Absolutely, it will be out there. If people want to go and actually see it all, you know what I mean, then there'll be a place for them to go and find it online.
My concern is that when it gets to that all these major tech companies are just going to crash the servers so that you can't do anything.
Well, that's a possibility, and I think that Mark Levin had said something a couple of weeks ago, and then he stopped himself. So there is something else that's in the works whenever it comes to being able to get factual information online. So there's some kind of alternative plan going on. I think it's going to be going through Google or anything like that. I'm not sure what it is. But he stopped himself. He said, no, I'm going to stop myself. I'm not ready to release that information yet.
What if they go with misinformation, too, saying that this is happening and this is this, do this, and it's not really happening, and they get people to do stuff that they shouldn't be doing?
Look at War of the Worlds.
Like War of the Worlds. That's what I was going to say.
Well, even like the one guy who was what was that, MSNBC or whatever, Brian Dumaflicci, whatever his name was. They said that Trump, you know, they concluded that Trump was involved with Russia or something like that. Remember the stock market tank?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and then of course Trump called him right out on it. But they may do something to that extent just to cause chaos.
Right.
No, that's not true. You never can. You just never can tell. And some people will lose their minds, but my God, they're losing their minds over stupid stuff right now anyway. And those people, I just don't know what to tell them.
Who other than Hillary do you want to see pay?
Hold on one second. Besides that, they've already been doing that stuff. Think about that. Think about when they show Antifa rioting outside of Berkeley, and they make it seem like there's 5,000 people that are rioting, and it's 150.
There's only about,
You know, I mean, they've been doing this for a while.
Oh, yeah, there's the group down there, Bama, by all means necessary. That girl is a teacher at one of the colleges. She's been arrested before. She was on the FBI watch list for years, and she was actually part of the Berkeley riots again last year, where she hit somebody in the head. I don't even know why the college even lets her teach there whenever she behaves in such a manner that's just terroristic. But Fire Sessions put a thing on here. Infrastructure sabotage is what we need to be prepared for. That's what can trigger all these useless leftists going on a killing spree for food and supplies, and they can be very dangerous for underneath that scenario. Well, that's true, and I feel that Soros and them have already paid people, or the money is there for to pay people to go out and start just mass chaos. That's his goal in life.
Well, Fire Sessions brought up something interesting. He says infrastructure sabotage is what we need to be prepared for.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. That is what I was answering another question. Sorry about that.
Okay. But yeah, so I mean, absolutely. And if, for instance, you're under martial law, and there is not only infrastructure sabotage, say if they sabotage where you can't even, if transportation is brought down, say if there was an EMP attack or one of those nut jobs went out and blew up a major part of the infrastructure, the grid even, which is an everyday occurrence that they're on the lookout for, then your transportation is not going to go anywhere. And people do not realize that. I mean, they still think that they can go down to the grocery store and get what they need when they need it. That's not going to happen after a few days. To that.
Yeah. A couple of years ago. Go ahead.
So even the people on the East Coast that get ready for hurricanes, so we were stationed there for 3 years. And literally for 3 years, we were ready to leave on a moment's notice, but still be stocked up all the time. It was just crazy because of all the hurricane, tropical storms, all the stuff that we had to deal with then. And, we learned quick. You have to be prepared. And our family is, we're prepared, and we know that if something if it goes down to where transportation goes down. I mean,
Yeah.
we keep our vehicles
Gassed up.
full of gas. We're legally allotted to keep 50 additional gallons of gasoline, which we do with fuel stabilizer in it, and then we rotate it out like in our lawnmowers and you know, and motorcycles, things like that. But we have those kind of things. We have backup the list of stuff that we have prepared in case it goes down for months upon months. Those are things that we're ready for. Antibiotics, you know, everything.
Right. And it is a good idea to do that. At least a 72-hour kit, if not go for a few months.
Yes. 72 hours is nothing. I mean,
right.
People aren't even prepared for that. Most people aren't prepared.
If your transportation goes down, you call this trucker here. He'll get through. Come rain, come sleet, come high water, I'll be there.
You drive for the mail?
No.
Oh. So, a couple years ago, I had just gotten a brand new leaf blower I got in the backyard. Where I'm at, it's really, I mean, it's a beautiful area. You take it for granted. So I go and I try to turn this thing on, and it doesn't turn on. So I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It's brand new, and it's not firing up. I plugged it in, nothing doing. I go in the house, and all the lights are blinking on the clocks. So then I thought, oh, well, all right, there's a blackout in our neighborhood, so let's get in the truck and let's go down the street and get some dinner. We got out of our house and we drove around the corner, and it was traffic, and it was bumper to bumper. And this was a couple years back where there was a blackout that went from Southern California all the way over to Nevada and parts of Arizona.
Yeah.
And then their explanation for it was, oh, somebody flipped the wrong switch. And it was out for a day and a half, or it was almost a day. And it was scary because all of our food was defrosting. We weren't prepared. Normally, a 5-minute drive down the street took me 45 minutes. And you want to talk about people spitting venom? It was ugly.
Really?
It scared the hell out of me because of that.
Yeah, that's just something that's minute, okay? I mean, people panic like that. Just wait until something big happens.
You can't get gas either because you can't use the digital aspect of it with your ATM card. None of that.
You can't get, that's the thing, and people don't get it. They think they'll be able to run and get to the ATM. That's not going to happen. ATMs go down. Electricity goes down, ATMs go down. You know, the gas pumps go down. They all run off of electricity. Just like if the electricity goes off at your house, what works? Nothing.
Wow.
Boy, that's really bad.
Uh-oh. Holy moly.
So, it's crazy that most people think, oh, you know, I'll be okay or whatever. The majority of people do not even know how to garden, for God's sake. So when transportation goes down, if food can't get to the store and they can't get any of it, they don't even know how to grow vegetables for themselves, which is even more bizarre, but whatever. I mean, we've gone away from so many of the basics of, you know, survival. I mean, literally.
Of life.
Exactly.
Literally.
Caring for yourself. And
taking care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And most people don't have a clue. They just don't have a clue. And it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, most people don't even know how to can, to preserve the food that they have. You know, when you can't buy any more at the grocery store, how are you going to preserve the food that you have? Say if you even know how to grow, you know, in the garden or whatever, how are you going to preserve that food if you don't know how to can it?
Brain, what have you got there? That looks interesting.
Well, I'm reading an AP article. I don't know if it's saying anything that we don't already know. Just kind of skimming through here.
Well, I've got one that I put in the Fire Sessions and Colleen Allen brought up about Brian Joyce, who was a former senator that was awaiting had criminal charges.
Yeah.
He was found dead yesterday, and so it makes you wonder who killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Just some more of those things.
Around his neck.
So this is an affiliate of CBS News. CBS Boston.
Yep.
Massachusetts State Senator Brian Joyce, who is facing criminal charges that he used his public office to run a criminal enterprise, has been found dead at his home in a Boston suburb on Thursday afternoon. He was 56. No foul play was suspected. Whatever, dude.
Oh, okay.
How much do you want to make? How much do you want to? How much do you want to make a bet that he and his wife did the 23andMe?
No, that's not the problem. He's a Democrat. He's being charged, racketeering, extortion, wire fraud, and money laundering. They probably just killed,
1 million in bribes and kickbacks.
They probably killed him to shut him up.
Yeah,
Exactly,
he knew
that's what
other
I'm saying.
people.
He knew too many bad things, and they were afraid he was going to flip on them.
Investigators have found no sign of foul play.
Yeah. Who's investigators?
FBI.
Oh gosh! Ouch!
The untimely death.
The FBI's not going to like us very much.
Well, they need to do something about their leadership.
They do. They gotta straighten, shape their ship up a little bit.
It's all dependent on what we see. If
Exactly.
Avoid this ship show.
They know. I mean, the typical. I mean, the FBI that are good guys. They know that their organization has been infiltrated and is corrupt.
And it's a joke. It's a joke now. That's what's sad. They're a joke.
Well,
they're not.
But that's what
they're not the guys that they used to be.
Yeah. Who trusts an honest G-man anymore? Show me one.
Exactly.
Well, they probably exist, and there's probably the majority of them are honest. It's just that the organization as a whole is looking so bad. I mean, having some bad press might be good for them. It's like, do something about it. If you're so concerned with your reputation, then maybe you ought to do something about the bad apples in your bunch.
Yep.
Because they're rotting the rest of the apples, dang crap nabbit.
Yeah, take some desperate actions. Get rid of those guys.
Crab apples? What?
I said dang crap nabbit.
Nuts. Well, my computer's about to die, and it was a full charge when we started this fiasco.
Okay. I'll take the hint.
You're going up 2 hours.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just on and on and on.
Well, it's fun. I think we've talked. We've talked about a lot of good things, and a lot of conspiracies.
And 10 people watching.
I know.
Yeah. Hey, I want you guys to know this is my social experience. This is about as much socializing as I do. So, meh.
Believe me, he's telling the truth.
Get out of that basement there, Brian.
Not in a basement. I'm just a hermit.
Ask our wonderful audience what they would like for us to discuss next week.
Well, even if I knew that it was something different than what I would do now, then I don't think I would be able to deliver it. I pretty much do whatever I need to do.
Well, if there's conspiracies that they'd like us to cover or look up or...
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have... At least I haven't had enough time to do much other than what we do. So.
Yeah, well, you've got others of us.
Brian, you're a legend with me, and your sacrifice is appreciated.
A legend.
Yep, legend.
Brain, you're a legend in your own mind.
No, he said it was in his mind. I'm not him.
Mind over matter, and if you don't mind, it don't matter.
So maybe I'm logged into 2 accounts at once. Maybe I'm just saying nice things about myself with a different voice.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna bug out, and I hope to see you guys on the chat on Monday.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we get to see.
We'll be here.
We get to see Doc Corsi hopefully Monday.
Be safe.
God bless you.
Get rid of all your red stuff.
That's right.
Have a good weekend.
You too, buddy.
See you later.
Okay, I think we're all going at this point, right? So.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys in chat, I really appreciate you guys. That we got some regulars. I really do appreciate it.
And you guys are great. You've got some good things to say. You really do.
So with that, I bid you a good weekend. And, bye.
Yes, Colleen, it was a sweet night.
Bye.